Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 10-mon Standard Blind Band Tournament Round 2. This week, we are against GamingKyra, and we are 0-1, unfortunately. But these things happen. I feel a bit better about everything this week, both from my team's standpoint, learning a little bit about game mechanics and everything in between. But I also feel better about the matchup, which we'll get into a little bit of that why when we get to talking about Kyra's team. But yeah, I guess with that, let's get into the team breakdown. These are going to get so much easier considering that my team doesn't change on a week-to-week basis. So, as you guys remember, I have Ascendant, Eldergel, Konko, Mega Rock, Nautilid, Reduga, Eagle, Tarblob, Terragile, and Vertrag. A bit of a hybrid buffing, aging, scaling style that is looking to kind of weather through the first couple turns and get my mons ramped up and then try to just break the opponent's team from there. Kyra's team is Azarak, Ascendant, Asura, Draco Noir, Magma Moth, Ornithopter, Sizzle Knight, Scorch, Sutsune, and Tanuki. And notably here that this is a little bit of a burn blind team, much heavier on the blind compared to Minwerdi last week, and a little bit lighter on the burn and completely foregoing any semblance of shock synergy whatsoever. For a few much more like generically useful mons that can just kind of roll fill with Sutsune, Ascendant, Asura, Ornithopter. They're all just kind of good flexible mons. And then we have like the small burn core of Magma Moth, Sizzle Knight, Scorch. And then we have the blind core of Azarak, Sizzle Knight, Draco Noir. And I think Tanuki technically has blind. I want to say it's blind when you do a non-damaging action. But yeah, I mean, hard to really call that a blind mon at that point. It's just Tanuki. Like, you know what Tanuki does. Debuffs be gone. But, yeah, much different, but still a little bit similar lineup to last week. I believe it's 4 mons that overlapped: Azarak, Sizzle, Scorch, and Magma Moth. From what we learned last week, Scorch is a really, like, durable healer that can kind of apply buffs via healing and just kind of wants to sit and play as long as humanly possible, clicking its buttons if you ignore it, and getting whatever the DPS that's in play at the current time going and keeping them healthy. Magma Moth looks to be a pure DPS mon. It definitely lit me up with a lava stream last week that I was not expecting to do that much damage. It definitely has good damage output. The Sizzle Knight is just a bulky kind of damage dealer that can play into the Blinding Spark setup to get blinds on the opponent as well, and is just really annoying to remove because it's so durable. And then we have the Azarak, which y'all know I hate this one. He is Captain Blindo and looks to just make your opponent play dice rolling games instead of actual competitive battles. Ascendant, I am using it as a support. I do believe it technically could go Dark Shift, Critical Apex, DPS, but I think it's more often seen as a Light Shift Enlighten mon that can spread buffs around. Asura is just a solid overall mon that can be a support. I've run it as a support in the past, actually, and then it can definitely be a DPS. Draco Noir is kind of a hybrid, I think. At least my definitions in my brain, it's a hybrid, as it's not always outputting like core DPS levels of damage, but it doesn't exactly have like support buttons to click. Like it's not sitting there trying to like AoE heal the team or like AoE shield the team every single turn. It's generally just trying to click whatever the AoE shadow move is called pretty much every turn. But the way you build it lends it to be kind of like a hybrid DPS in that you're clicking a move that hinders the opponent, but it is doing damage, and he is a crit mon, so can naturally hit kind of hard. Then we got Ornithopter. This thing may end up being the bane of my existence, at least if it's anything like Thorn's Ornithopter. But this thing just removes buffs from play like no other, and is absolutely obnoxious to deal with. I hopefully can kill this thing about as quickly as it shows up. But if I can't, it's potentially a problem. Sutsune is a, like, bleed support healer. It's got good buffs, it's got good healing, it's got good cleansing, it's got buff steal. What it doesn't have is any semblance of durability whatsoever. This thing falls over to a random leaf, let alone an entire line of them being shot at it, or even worse, a giant freaking boulder. So I think you probably know what my game plan is to remove a Sutsune from play if it decides it wants to show its face. And then again, Tanuki. It's the anti-debuff mon. I am not particularly worried about Tanuki. I don't see a lot of synergy with this team with Tanuki. We don't exactly have like a plethora of multi-glory or anything like that for Tanuki to play into with Maneki. And I'm not exactly a debuff comp. I get some random debuffs here and there, but not many. So I genuinely don't think I'm going to even see Tanuki. I would almost go as far to say if Kyra brings Tanuki this week, it almost feels like a mistake. Maybe unless like one of the early games, my debuffs just kind of do stuff and like enable stuff and she overcorrects bringing Tanuki because she thinks that maybe I'm more debuff centric than I really am. That is definitely a possibility. Going into the bans. I banned Azarac again. Now, I know what you guys are all thinking. Azrael, last week you said you weren't gonna snap ban Azarac against every single team that has Azarac. And you're right, I didn't say that. But the asshole is the asshole, 1. But, notably, 2. Before last week, the match at least, I actually got together with Kyra and we did 3 or 4 playtesting games. And in those games, I asked her to not use Azarac. Because that's what I had banned against my opponent last week. And I did not use Vertrag because that is what was banned against me last week. So I was playtesting my team as I would have had to field it last week. And I was asking her just to not use the one really annoying mon that I elected to ban last week. Because it wouldn't really help me for my playtesting against Minwerdy. In those games, it definitely felt like my team had an edge over her team. I want to say one of the games went very similar to game 1 of last week, where I won with a pretty healthy team advantage by the end of it. And even with adjustments on her end, it still felt kind of favored towards me. I want to say I won either all or all but one of those games. And yeah, that's the reason why, as I mentioned at the beginning, I feel a little bit more confident in this round compared to last round, because I actually have some playtesting experience against Kyra. She also mentioned in between one of the games that not having her Azarac hurt. And looking at her team with Draco Noir and Sizzle Knight and Azarac, it's clear that she really just wants to make her opponents play dice games with blind. And yeah, I'm not into that. If I could remove that from play, as I mentioned last week on banning Azarac, I would prefer to try to remove the blinds from the equation if possible, so that way I could just play a little bit more straight up with my opponent. Now, in this case, I can't, because there's also a Draco Noir who is almost as good at the whole blind game as Azarac. And between the two, you always ban Azarac because martial prowess threatens to absolutely flip the tempo of a game on one bad blind string. That's all it takes. One bad blind string, the Mon gets 3 extra buffs, and suddenly you're the one getting clapped instead. And yeah, it's clearly the biggest threat, I think, to how I want to play my team. As for Kyra's ban against me, this is also going to look familiar, as it's Vertrag. I'm starting to get this weird feeling that I'm not going to be fielding Vertrag much at all during the 10 weeks. Or I say 10 weeks, however many matches we play. I don't know why, 10 Mons, duh. But my goal is to try to start making my opponents respect Nautilid and Megarock enough that they might leave me the Vertrag at some point. I have talked about the fact that I think Nautilid, Megarock, and Vertrag are basically the 3 Mons that you would consider banning against me. Unless you're just, like, really particularly weak against, like, Elder Gel nonsense or something like that. I don't see why you wouldn't ban one of the 3. And yeah, once again, we have no Vertrag, which is sad times overall. But at least I got some testing last week playing without my Vertrag, so I could take that experience and the adjustments I've made into this week, and we'll see how it goes. So, going from there, let's go into game. I just got back from the tree, naming my eagle. So, I will tell you, I will just flash this really briefly, as nothing has changed with this Nautilid. This is the exact same support setup as we had last week. I do still think I want to keep Fortress as opposed to Dark Shroud or Bubble Deluge, although it is maybe defendable to swap to one of these. Kyra's team is quite weak to water and earth. So I do think that it's actually kind of reasonable to pick one of the other 2 ultimates here. But I think at least for game 1, I want to have Fortress available for a mid-game, like, rekindling of my shield if it drops down a little bit. The equipment, we are going with Restoring Wand instead of Fishing Rod. My buffs get up so fast anyways that I think I want the insulation against the debuffs that are coming in, especially considering that there is a Sizzle Knight looking to essentially convert Burn Proc into Blind, and I am looking to avoid Blind as much as humanly possible. This is very, very much a week where this may change to a Purifying Mace. And actually, it maybe should be a Purifying Mace right off the rip. But my team is Cleanse Light, so I think I'm going to stick with Restoring Wand for now. Next, we're going to move on to this guy. And this Tarblob is a little goofy. It's amply named the protagonist because we've got the running gag between Kyra and myself over who is the true Tarblob stan, as she did not field Tarblob this tournament, and I am. And I'm gonna try to get a little cheeky in game 1. And this is meant to be more of a DPS Tarblob. That has some ability to kind of off-heal if I need it, but I'm really looking to just hammer in with Bitumen Surge or Bitumen Deluge with all of Tarblob's lovely nonsense that it has. We are running Light Shift Debuff Variety alongside of that Nautilid that's going to chuck on some extra debuffs. And yeah, we're going a little silly, admittedly, for this one. If it works well and I win game 1, maybe this Starblob will stay around. Otherwise, this is really just kind of meant to be a game 1 little silly nod. I'm willing to do stuff like that, and yeah, if we lose, then this Tarblob is going to be sidelined for like Eagle or Conko or something a little bit more focused on the team. But yeah, I think I've got this set up pretty well. I elected to skip out on the poison stuff because I don't really know how I'm going to get poison outside of another ally applying it or Slimeageddon, and I would rather have Vitamin Deluge over Slimeageddon. That could completely be wrong, but I'm genuinely unsure. I think I value just constantly keeping the suppression of Tether and Wound on my opponents, as opposed to maybe we randomly get some mana back. I'm kind of a channeling comp anyways, so I don't desperately need the mana, and Kyra's a burn team, so I don't really need to worry that much about chill, so I think my mana will be largely okay. Equipment, we're going Scythe, Fin, B-Chain, Omni-Ring, a good mix of crit and durability stats as much as I can field. I know Blood Vessel is pretty common on Tarblob, but I don't value it as much as Tarblob has, like, mana burn, and we're going to get some random burns that are going to happen either from Tarblob or from Nautilid to regenerate mana. I am a channeling comp again, so I've got that working in my favor as well. I don't feel like I need the Blood Vessel, and Tarblob's Blood Drive is the only source of bleed application that I have in my team outside of Elder Gel, and Elder Gel is usually a late game cleaner that will come in, and I'm planning on leading the Tarblob, so they're more than likely never going to be in play at the same time, and so I genuinely don't feel like Blood Vessel is worth it here. Could be wrong, but I had 0 mana problems last week. Oh, we also have Recuperate to regenerate mana with like a 54 crit chance that only gets better with Stucktight. So, yeah, I don't think I need to worry about mana, especially because I am a channeling comp. That's like the main thing. Next up, we got Koseki Bijou, the Mega Rock, and there is very slight modifications to this mon from last time. Note, I am still using Meditation, as I do kind of value it enough, because there are turns where I may want to click Forge or Protect or whatever, but this could easily just come off for anything. I guess it would just be like an attack plus at this point. But last week we ran very Lightning Punch heavy because Minwerdy had many Lightning weak mons. This week, Kyra has 1 mon weak to fire in Scorch, and then no mons weak to wind. 3 resistant to fire, 2 resistant to wind. So I elected to go with fire here because it offers me the best overall coverage against other mons. And I would rather have the ability to potentially knock out Candlecat when it shows up, as opposed to not and having coverage that I don't really need. Obviously, level 5 Leaf Slash is mandatory. And then we just have the level 4 neutral as coverage just to get down to Static Mass and Golden Age. Not a whole lot has changed on Mega Rock this week. And not much will change. It's pretty much just going to be which Ellie punch I'm taking for the week. I'm almost always planning on taking Boulder Toss. Equipment-wise, we are on the Heavy Mace. I know I I think I'm gonna actually shift back to Trident here. I pivoted to Heavy Mace last week because I felt like I needed that extra little bit of damage to push. But I know when I tested against Kyra last week, I was on Trident the whole time, and it felt fine. So, therefore, we'll go on Trident again. Then we've got the pretty standard Ancestral Metal, Crown, Dumbbell. These are just all really good, useful options on Mega Rock. Ascendant has also changed a little bit. I also understood better how to use this one now. So, yeah, we are more focused on the whole healing buffing loop that I now understand how it functions. We have dropped meditation on Ascendant, and we are running the triple path combo, even if Ascendant is the only one that is benefiting from it. We are running Arcane Obliteration now. I could try to squeeze this combo buffing in. Apparently, I missed that when I was going through everything, because it would work with Helping Hand. Crap. I'll drop that mana plus, actually. Let me get MS Paint open so that I can screenshot this. Live editing on the fly, because I realized last night when I did all this that I made a goof. I think that's probably going to be the only change that I do, though. Because, again, we're a channeling comp. We don't really need the extra mana. What am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? How am I 2 off? Nani? That one, that one. No, I don't have that one. There you go. Okay, so to talk about this a little bit more, I am bringing Whirlpool level 2, which is maybe not the most common pick on an Ascendant, because Kyra has 3 Mons weak to water, and Ascendant will eventually cap out buffs and turn into a hybrid DPS. So I figured let's just actually field the Whirlpool level 2 over something like a Health Plus or whatever, in order to just have that extra threat on those DPS mons when they come in, because it will overall give me more value than a random like stat node probably would. And we are going with Arcane Obliteration this time to combo with Punishment for both debuff stripping and combo building. So, yep. Equipment, we are back on the fan, as we are a little bit more focused on this Ascendant turning that corner and turning into a hybrid damage dealer in the mid game. And then we still have like your typical like bead chain, tambourine, buckler set up for some good durability while getting a bunch of crit chance. And we are on triple banana for the extra durability. Raduga. Raduga is another one that I've been educated a little bit on building, and we've made some choices here. Notably, we are not taking critical exploit because of the additional cost to get there, as I find air to be one of the worst elements to carry for this round, and so we are electing to drop that for this week. It is obviously a solid passive, but we have critical apex, we will have glory buffs, and we will have potentially some stuck tight buff if Raduga ends up next to Tarblob. So, with all that said, I valued going level 5 Gemstone, level 5 Snow Veil, because this covers weakness against 6 out of 10 Mons on the other team. And then we got the level 4 Fire, because we do absolutely need to get down to like Maneki and Cascade. And fire at least covers Scorch, as far as weakness is concerned. So that's good. We've got the combo buffing to pair with the Snow Veil because, as I have now learned, this is a damage action and a buffing action. So therefore, it will combo buff. And that's pretty important to know. Things I did not know last week. And then outside of that, we stayed pretty traditional as a crit killer. I was very impressed with Raduga's output last week, even in the loss. So I think knowing how to use it a little bit better and building it a little bit better, I trust it to still be a damage dealing threat on my team. And then, equipment. I believe this is the exact same as I ran last week. Fan, Fin, Buckler, Tarot card. One of the accessories might have changed. I might not have had Fin or something. But we're still going with this setup. Tarot card could arguably be swapped to something like Coat or what is it? Coat? The health and crit chance? Yeah. Yeah, and I do like this, but it would only give me like an extra 200 health right now, and I would lose 60 magic, plus the potential extra scaling of the sorcery and channel, so I think I'll stay where I am. Metroid, the Elder Gel, did not change at all. It's already pretty much lined up to hit Kyra's team as effectively as possible, and I'm not changing its items or its skill tree at all. Going down, we have Konko. Konko's tree got re-educated a little bit with me learning some stuff. We dropped this entire extra buff line. Basically going to cast Warcast one time and probably turn into a DPS after that, or maybe two if, God behold, I low rolled everything random on my team. But then we still have the whole martial prowess, buffing, combo buffing nonsense. We are going with max level explosion. This thing will probably just end Scorch's life if it catches it. And I'm not blinded to hell. We've got double Giant Bane for the extra damage output. And then I've got Cyclone as an AoE wind for some combo build. It's about the same combo build as Severe Cuts. I'm electing to skip Center of Mass and keep Konko largely single target. And yeah, we're just going to use it to get some extra damage out and get some combo out as a secondary damage dealer alongside of more than likely Mega Rock when it comes in. We are on Katana, Fin, Bead Chain, Cape, so the best combination of crit and durability that I can find. I really like my damage dealers being kind of tanky to just muck up my opponent's damage calcs. And then we got Bird Up, the Dark Eagle. I was a little bit of a hater on Dark Eagle, and I do think that as an overall, it's pretty bad against blind. But we are going to at least, I rebuilt it a little bit. I think it still has the potential to do some stuff if I need to call on it. It's another good sorcery user, but it's probably going to stay sidelined, as I do think it is just not better than most of what I have, and I feel like I would put Konko over that Tarblob before Eagle. But we'll have to see. And then it's got Scythe and Hook, pretty standard like crit setup, and then Fin Fang Coat, pretty much just a really standard generic crit setup. And with that, I'm gonna go ping Kyra. We're gonna get into gameplay here as soon as possible. For a sec there, she forgot who we got our bands from. But we're going to get ready, and like I said, I'm going to field the team that I am showing for game 1. I'm gonna try to hit her with the Tarblob game 1. And go from there. Gotta keep the shenanigans in the memery alive a little bit. We're in the 0-1 bracket. Ornithopter, Suits, and Aces. Alright, so notably, I don't think I really saw Ornithopter or anything like that. Opponent is going first, which is a little unfortunate for me. Because I really wanted first turn here, because Bijou could possibly kill a couple Mons. Alright, so we've got the Sizzle Knight in play. That's probably going to be to try to fish for some blind. Dodge buffs up immediately, which, that's fine. We got the Rock in play. Going right at my Nautilid. Okay. I think this is an easy Vitamin Surge here for combo. I can Boulder to get rid of the Ascendant. Or I can Leaf Slash to get rid of the Sutsune. I think I want the Ascendant out first. Here we go. Have a Rock. And she has hit us with the what the heck. I do think Kyra's team is a little soft to rock, so Bibu gonna go hard. We gonna rock in this week. And for anybody who clearly doesn't get it or hasn't figured it out, I am a pretty big Hololive fan. And Bibu is, like, one of my favorites. I love all of Advent, to be perfectly honest, but... Alright, let's click Miracle again. Since we're going to be battling buff steals the whole time. And since we're down... the Boulder Toss for right now, we'll click Vitamin Deluge here. And that doesn't quite kill Ornithopter, so I think I'm just going to delete this Sutsune. At this point, I don't think Rock is going anywhere. I mean, I guess buffed up Fire Punches from Asura could be an out, but we're full shielded. Really going in on Nautilid. I'm kind of okay with this. Like... Oh, now going at the Tarblob! Kyra! Your Tarblob's not gonna forgive you! Alright, so I think we're definitely just gonna click Fortress here. I don't... pretty much never clicking Acid Rain. I'm pretty much never clicking Slime Shot. Yeah, this is not any damage. So let's click Fortress. Okay, we got 3 blinds on Tarblob. That's a little annoying. I kind of just need to get through them. So let's just fire off Vitamin Surge, I think. Or we could Mud Cannon, but let's Vitamin Surge. Not a big fan of the Nautilid refusing to die while Mega Rock is also there. And that is the catch-22. This is the predicament I'm trying to put people in if they're going to keep banning my Vertrag. Deal with Nautilid Mega Rock. Now, notably, this team is not really that good at threatening Asura, so... yeah, I mean, Asura is gonna be a little annoying. Ooh. Yeah, that's some spicy damage. I really don't want the 35% miss chance. Let's go for Candlecat. Got him. This is either going to pressure Asura to go into reviving, or... yeah, just going to really be trying to push damage now. We got 2 blinds left. Yeah, Leaf Slash is pretty much guaranteed to kill there. Let's just put this down to a 3v1. All right, and game 1 has gone the way. All right, so the blind stacks are a touch annoying. Do I have any natural cleanse? Not, I mean, like, I have single target cleanse, but if I switch my Nautilid to Purifying Mace, I don't have any cleanse aside of Age of Purification, and that's harmful stack. So that's already doing a little bit of work against what do you call it? Stacks. Yeah, I am just a little soft to like, I don't want to not have the restoring one, because then I'm worried about, like, the burns and whatever stacking up a little bit too much and putting additional pressure on me. But I would love to be able to cleanse blinds a little bit more. But I was pretty easily able to play through the minor blinding that was coming in my way. So I don't think I change anything. That was a really good game. So yeah, let's just go. So Kyra wants to start. Five, 5, 2, 2. Do. Good game 1 on my end, and we're gonna let that Tarblob ride. We're gonna get Tarblob glory going here if we can. Tarblob sweep. The pro tag? We're gonna go for it. Ugh. So, I do expect to not see the same 6 Mons. We did not see a Draco Noir. That Draco Noir may come in to try to cover some extra blind spam to keep the team alive. But it is slightly weak to the Mega Rock, so I don't know. It's not particularly a mon that's known for its durability, so I don't know. Yeah, that was pretty much just a Mega Rock sweep there. But that is the goal. Alright, so we see a Magma Moth this time over Scorch. That's Dark Shift Magma Moth, so that is extra DPS. I'm going to lead the same way. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Magma Moth is in early. Okay. So Magma Moth is a mon that actually is decent against Mega Rock because I don't have good threat into it. And I kind of want to get Magma Moth out of play as fast as possible. And we're gonna just try to Zerg down the Yep, okay. Not really surprised here. Bitumen Deluge may get... May get me there. Yup. Get out. Alright, so at this point, the worst that Mega Rock can do is a 1-for-1. So I'm okay with, at worst, getting a 1-for-1. Okay. I mean, I do need to be careful about my element choice. I might get a kill with this. But we're going to go here. I think this sets me up better with my resistances. Reduga wants one extra turn to kind of set up. And then I think Reduga can kind of just get ready to set up sweep here. Woohoo! Damn. That was more damage than I was expecting. Wow, okay. Alright, well at this point, it ain't looking good for Reduga. I'm gonna try to get this Osra out of here. Okay, that did not work quite as well. Damn, that was close though. Alright, I'm losing my Reduga almost assuredly. I mean, it did get up to full shields with a bunch of buffs on it, so it might survive and not get killed. It's already down its PA. But... Alright, Okay, nope, I'm gonna die to... I'm gonna get debuffed out. Alright. Actually, if I do Tarblob last, it might kill. And I don't have ult there, so we're gonna Deluge here. Okay. Nice! Ticked it out through PA. Level the playing field back up. So, good adjustment on Kyra's end. Really ignoring the Nautilid, which, unfortunately, you kind of have to do. My back line is not to be trifled with. But now we are in a interesting endgame state. I've been having trouble keeping my buffs up, which I don't like, but... Arcane Obliteration is certainly not going to be helping that. What do we got? Sizzle Knight left, who has just Omega Cleanse. I need to get the Sizzle Knight out of play, so I can try to keep my buffs up. It's also the only source of, blind. That being said, this is also threatening a hell of a lot of damage on 2 Mons again. Alright, well, we accomplished our main goal, which was kill Sizzle Knight. So now I can get my buffs really stacked up. Ascendant's got the ability to heal immediately, or just Arcade Obliterates instead of healing. Sure. Yeah, we're just gonna click Fortress here. And... Alright, let's go Tarblob! Let's go Tarblob! I think I understand the team now and how I could have built it better, LOL. That was a fun one. So we are going to continue. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I may not lead the same, because she is adjusting quite well. Really got my Mega Rock in a hard spot, but all right. Wants to go first, so yeah, I'm gonna keep that in mind. I may not lead the rock. The little blob that could. I think I might lead... Do I lead Ascendant? I could go back to like my old game 1 lead against her, which was Nautilid, Ascendant, and Mega Rock. That puts a lot more pressure on, like, I'm 1 DPS instead of, like, 1.5. Although Ascendant naturally turns into a DPS anyways. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. Alright, so Kyra is going to be a moment. So she is busy at work making some changes, so we are going to be looking forward to a potentially wildly different Game 3 here. Up 2-0. But going well so far. I'm thrilled because I get to post a video that is a tar blob doing work. And it's looking reasonable that I'll be taking a match win. Because even if Kyra gets this game, that leaves me 2 games where I will be on the play to get 1. And Mega Rock on the play when it threatens like half of her team with weakness damage that is contributing into the Mega Rock ramping up. Yeah, that's a pretty unfortunate place to be. But I think that's fine. The way that one started, with a bit of trading, I was not ready for that, but that critical double kill turn where I got the Asura via debuff damage through its PA for the double kill, which leveled the numbers back up, really swung the momentum back into my favor. So it happens. That's why we carry big AoEs and whatnot. Obviously, Elder Joe's no Vertrag, where it could just sit there building up stacks for a while until it clicks gravity and threatens a triple kill, but I have a feeling I'm not going to be able to get a gravity triple kill this tournament. I would like to try to figure out something more for Nautilid. Because Nautilid does feel a little bit underwhelming, like, after turn 2. But not really anything I can do about that, so I just kind of have to go with it. It's really awkward to try to figure out, like, how to make Nautilid. Like, Nautilid asks a lot on the skill tree, so it's really hard to get, like, one attack up high enough level. I would love to be able to, like, give it Shadow Grasp or whatever the single target blind is, so it could just throw on some blinds once it's done doing Nautilid things if my team is in a pretty healthy spot, but I might have to look more at it, because that's only 1 skill point for me, so if I can find one thing to drop, I could get it blind. But I don't know what to drop, so his Nautilid really wants pretty much the tree that I have. I am just very happy with Light Shift Tarblob's performance this week. Big fan. I brought it mostly just to be kind of a joke because it's Kyra and me battling, but Little guy is putting in work and staying on the team, possibly for a 3-0. And we'll have to see if we can realize that 3-0. But I feel much more comfortable in how I'm playing my team now with the the pointers that I've been given from last week. So don't be embarrassed by the reverse sweep. Okay, we're talking big. I make that joke every time I need new material. All right, so a little bit different of an open, a little bit more annoying of an open. We got lots of cleansing going on. We've got the potential blind, and we've got two people who could put decent damage output into Mega Rock. I don't know if they can unbuffed, but oh yeah, I forgot Sutsune also has fire damage. Well, who's dying? I think it's the Asura. Here's a rock. Right. I always forget about Phoenix Affinity. Too many mons that have no bit. Like, why does Asura have Phoenix Affinity? Make it make sense. That's not an Asura thing. They just gave that shit Phoenix Affinity because they felt like it. But that's fine, because now PA is gone, and it's in a pretty bad state, so if it doesn't get healed up pretty aggressively, it might just die to Ascendant this turn. That is 2 not attacks so far, or 2 not heals so far, so I'm probably going to go for a double kill on the backliners and just leave Sutsune. Although Sutsune's bleed out. Lava stream, okay. I see. This does not quite kill. Alright, can't really go for a double kill, unfortunately. I think it's actually get the Sutsune out of play so the bleed doesn't stack up. I can always just kill the Asura this... Oh god, triple DPS in play? Okay. Jesus. Coming with the violence. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm losing Mega Rock this turn. I would be surprised if I don't. With the 15 bleed there from last turn. Although that will at least tick down. Oh, it's a tornado ult. Okay, never mind. So I'm not dying. Cool. I think this is just Arcana Blue. I mean, God, I could basically almost solo. I mean, I want to heal, but I also want to click Arcane Obliteration. I think that's correct here. Since we know Magma Moth ult is down, we're going to get rid of the Asura in the back. Alright, her Ascendant has made an appearance. With Pandora's Box, which I think I actually dropped from mine. Alright, we need to kill the Magma Moth. That's the main damage dealer here. Although it's going for AoE damage, which is just like... kind of whatever. I mean, this is good for probably damn near setting up lethal on it. Yep, we'll keep the boulder for next turn. If Leaf Slash can kill, I'm just gonna kind of bank the boulder for another turn. We're gonna rock. Tarblob is 100% coming in if Mega Rock goes down. I'll try to clean it up with Tarblob for fun. Knowing that I have two other big DPS behind it if it goes down. God! My buffs! Ah! Alright, I think this is just Click Miracle again. Although, I think we're gonna actually do this. I think that's the best value I just got there. I think, as much as I want the Ornithopter dead, it's much more likely that I can guarantee the Sizzle dies. Here you go, buddy! Rock! Neither of these have revive, so now I'm just in a permanent 2v3, which should probably close it out by itself. I'll pop the fortress, get a bunch of shielding on my whole team. Knock some buffs out. Put some chunky damage on that Ornithopter. Alright. And with that, we will 3-0 Kyra this week. Tarblob did plenty in games 1 and 2 to earn that slight rest in game 3 where we went with a slightly different open that managed to just close it out and go bell to bell and take that one home. So with that, we have now moved to the 1-1 bracket for next week. And yeah, those were fun games. Those were good games. Even the kind of stompy style games still had some back and forth moments. So great adjustment in game 2, actually keeping me a little bit off balance, and then me kind of getting a little bit of catch up on that on that barely got their kill on Asura with all the debuff damage. But yeah, that was a fun match this week. That's 2 of the burn style comps down, so hopefully I don't have to play against another burn team next week. I'd like to feature some matches against things that aren't just burn comps. But we'll have to see how that goes. So, alright, I will be back with the next round when we get there, and I will see you guys later.